Hey there, it is time for the Golden Age, and welcome back to the Golden Age of DC Comics, 365 days. What's going on here? I am reading an old book that an old friend of mine gave me about 2 decades ago. It's a coffee table book. It's been on every coffee table I've had in the past 20 years or so, and I'm reading it, and I'm reading it with and for you. And we're going on a little bit of a history lesson and a magical mystery tour of the days of yore and yesteryear. And with the Golden Age, a DC Comics, 365 days, written by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear, off of Abrahams Press. This was released in 2004. And if you want a copy, you can always find the link in the description. I left it there. And I think last time I checked, you can get it for about 12 or 13 bucks. And it's what's it's going to do? It's going to give us a year full of things to talk about in comic books. And we're just going to shoot the breeze. And we're going to take it a page a day. Oh, here's a cool one. All right. Let's start with the picture here. We talked about Sandman. And this is the same character. Sandman, he had a gas gun, and he had a mask, like a kind of like a gas mask, which was actually pretty spooky also for the day of gas attacks in war. So gas masks were actually a thing and very iconic of danger. I remembered the legendary rock and roll maestro Frank Zappa, he was an army brat or an Air Force brat, and he grew up on a base, and there were gas masks in arm's reach in the pantry, for their readiness exercises and things when he was a child. Yeah, so this is but this is I think this marks the premiere of Jack the King Kirby. This Jack Kirby was given Sandman, and he gave him a redesign, something a bit more super heroic to fit with the look of the other heroes. And we got him a sidekick too, a teen sidekick named Sandy. So let's read what we have today for January 28th. All right, the story and the art was by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. It's from Adventure Comics number 78, published in September of 1942, and Kirby was probably a late teenager by then, just out of high school. You know what I mean? It was a different world back then. People had to grow up quicker, and God bless the future that we're into. Here we go. All right, that's a darn good cup of coffee, by the way. The Sandman got his start in 1939 as a somewhat old-fashioned hero who wore a business suit and disguised his identity with a gas mask. The second version of this character, seen here, is closely identified with the powerhouse creative team of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, but was actually established before they took over the feature. Artist Chad Gruthkop worked with editor Whitney Ellsworth to create this second incarnation of Wesley Dodds. They also introduced Sandy Hawkins, sometimes known as the Golden Boy. Kirby encouraged the idea of associating the Sandman with dreams, a concept that came to final fruition in his third incarnation, introduced in the 1990s by writer Neil Gaiman. So this is Sandman's second look, his reboot, the first reboot, huh? You could say that this is the first reboot. We had to reboot his story and his powers, and we gave him a teen sidekick. We got to get sales up. The kids in marketing, the boys in marketing. The kids in marketing. But yeah, so that's the Sandman in his second look, and basically the debut of the timely / Marvel Comics powerhouse duo of Joe Simon and King Kirby. And that's all RTFM. That's all comic book history. They're the guys who they're the architects of the Silver Age. There are a few of them. Kind of like, look at Chicago or Boston or New York, how many architects contributed to build the classic looks of those cities at different ages. So you can see comic books kind of like the metropolis that it, or the Gotham that it, or the Fawcett City, or the Coast City, or the Marvel Manhattan that it represents. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in again. We're doing the golden age of DC Comics 365. We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. We are. What are you doing tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern? Tune in and find out what we're talking about tomorrow. It could get problematic in here. We are talking about old comic books, and they have troublesome stereotypes, and that's something that comes up tomorrow. So thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment in the comments section if you could be so kind. Continue this conversation of comic books. I am an ordained minister. I am an amateur theologian. We say let's get spiritual here, and we often do. I'm also a professional chef. I make cooking videos, and I want to give you delicious, nutritious, and beautiful cooking hacks for you to share with your family at your table, and breaking bread with family and appreciating this time we have with loved ones. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And yeah, it's the golden age of DC Comics. 365 days. We're going to do it. All right. Cheers.